The fluorescent lights of Giovanni's restaurant kitchen cast harsh shadows across the alley where 17-year-old Marcus Hayes crouched beside a dumpster. His dark hands, trembling as they reached for the elderly white woman, collapsed against the brick wall. Her fur coat was splayed around her like broken wings. Her jewelry caught the distant streetlight. One side of her face drooped terribly, and her breathing came in shallow, desperate gasps. Marcus had been searching for returnable bottles when he heard the sound, a moan, weak and fading. Every instinct told him to run. Black kid, white woman, expensive jewelry, dark alley. The equation always ended the same way. But her eyes found his, pleading, terrified, human. And in that moment, Marcus made a choice that would change everything. He pulled out his cracked phone. Dead battery. Of course. The woman's trembling hand gripped his wrist with surprising strength. Her mouth moved, trying to form words that wouldn't come. Marcus looked at her designer purse spilled across the wet pavement, grabbed her phone, held it to her face for the unlock, but her head lolled to the side. Face ID failed. "Stay with me," Marcus whispered. "Please, just stay with me." He ran. Sprinted down the alley toward the 24-hour convenience store 2 blocks away, his worn sneakers slapping against concrete. Inside, the clerk, a heavy-set white man with suspicious eyes, immediately reached under the counter. His hand came up, gripping a baseball bat. "We're closed." The man's voice was flat, final. The sign says, 24 hours. "There's a woman dying in the alley behind Giovanni's. I need to call 911. Marcus's voice cracked with desperation. "I don't fall for sob stories, kid. Get out before I call the cops myself." The bat didn't lower. Marcus's hand went to his shoe. Inside, wrapped in plastic, was $273. 3 months of washing dishes under the table, of donating plasma until they said his iron was too low, of collecting cans until his fingers bled from the metal edges, to was supposed to pay for his GED test and the deposit on a room at the YMCA. It was supposed to be his way out. How much, Marcus heard himself say. How much to use your phone for 1 minute? The clerk's eyes narrowed. $50. Marcus's hands shook as he unlaced his shoe, pulled out the plastic bag, counted out the bills. The clerk snatched them, counted them twice, then pointed to the wall phone without a word. Marcus dialed 911 with trembling fingers, gave them the location, gave them his name because the woman was dying and nothing else mattered. He ran back to the alley. The woman was still there, still breathing, but barely. Marcus knelt beside her, took her cold hand in his. "They're coming. Just hold on. Please hold on." Her eyes locked onto his face. Through the pain and fear, there was something else. Recognition, maybe. Gratitude, definitely. Her fingers tightened around his. Then sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer, and Marcus's survival instincts kicked in. Cops would see him, see her, see the jewelry, and assume the worst. They always did. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I have to go." He ran into the shadows as the ambulance lights painted the alley red and blue. He ran until his lungs burned. He ran until he collapsed on a bench in a park where the streetlights had died years ago. Then he pulled off his shoe and counted what was left. $223. Not enough for the test, not enough for the room, not enough for anything. Marcus pressed his palms against his eyes. He would not cry. Crying fixed nothing. But his chest ached with the weight of it all, the constant fight to survive, the exhaustion of being invisible until someone needed a suspect. He'd done the right thing. He knew he'd done the right thing. But the right thing had cost him everything. He spent the night under an overpass, shivering in the November cold, replaying the woman's face in his mind, wondering if she'd survived, knowing he'd never find out. When gray dawn light crept across the city, Marcus walked to the public library and sat on the bench outside. Waiting for it to open, waiting for nothing, waiting because he had nowhere else to go. A black sedan pulled up to the curb. Expensive, the kind of car Marcus had only seen in movies. The driver's door opened, and a white man in a sharp suit stepped out. Mid-40s, graying hair, eyes that went straight to Marcus's face. Marcus Hayes. It wasn't a question. Marcus stood, ready to bolt. Who's asking? Relax. I'm not police. My name is David Chen. I need to talk to you about last night. The man held up both hands, palms out. The woman you saved. That was my mother-in-law, Catherine Whitmore. The name hit Marcus like a fist. Catherine Whitmore. Everyone in the state knew that name. Whitmore Industries, billions in tech and real estate, one of the richest families in America. Marcus's legs felt weak. Is she okay? The question came out before he could stop it. She's alive because of you. David's expression softened. She had a massive stroke. The doctor said if you'd waited even 5 more minutes, she wouldn't have made it. You saved her life. Then why are you looking for me? Marcus's voice was guarded. Because you disappeared. When the paramedics arrived, you were gone. My mother-in-law kept trying to communicate, kept pointing, but couldn't make the words work. We had to piece it together. Called 911 dispatch, got your name, talked to the convenience store owner. He told us about the $50. David pulled out his wallet. This is yours. $500. The $50 you spent, plus what we think saving a life is actually worth. Marcus stared at the money. It was more than he'd seen in months. It's more than enough for the test, for the room, for breathing space. But his hands stayed at his sides. Why do you care? Marcus's voice hardened. Rich people don't hunt down kids like me unless they think we stole something. So what do you really want? David was quiet for a long moment. You're right. When the paramedics first told us someone had called it in and run, my first thought was that you tried to rob her and called to cover your tracks. I was wrong, and my mother-in-law wants to meet you. She hasn't stopped asking since she could speak again. Marcus studied David's face, looking for the trap. But the man looked tired, genuine. His expensive suit was rumpled like he hadn't slept. Okay, Marcus said slowly. I'll meet her, but I'm not taking the money. Not yet. Why not? 'Cause I don't trust easy fixes. Marcus met his eyes. I'll hear what she has to say. Then I'll decide. David smiled slightly. She's going to like you. St. Catherine's Medical Center was nicer than any building Marcus had ever entered. All glass and marble and the kind of quiet that money bought. People stared as David led him through the lobby, past the gift shop and cafeteria. Marcus felt every eye on his worn jeans, his faded hoodie, his shoes held together with duct tape. He didn't belong here, and everyone knew it. 4th floor, private wing. David stopped at a door marked 407 and knocked softly. Come in. The voice was strong, clear, commanding. The room looked like a hotel suite, flowers everywhere, a massive window overlooking the city. And in the bed, propped against silk pillows, sat the woman from the alley. Catherine Whitmore looked completely transformed. Her silver hair was perfectly styled. Her hospital gown somehow looked elegant. And 4 ran to her arm. But her eyes, those sharp gray eyes, were focused entirely on Marcus. Come here, young man, she said. Her voice was slightly slurred on one side, but understandable. Let me see you properly. Marcus took a hesitant step into the room. Catherine studied him like he was a puzzle she was determined to solve. Her gaze traveled from his face to his hands to his worn-out shoes and back again. You're younger than I thought. 17. Yes, ma'am. You look like you haven't eaten in a week. She turned to David. Have you fed him? We just got here, Catherine. Then fix it. Order him something from that steakhouse on Morrison. The one with the ribeye special. Sides, dessert, everything. She waved her hand. Go now. David gave Marcus an apologetic look and left. The door clicked shut. Catherine gestured to the chair beside her bed. Sit. Marcus sat. Something about this woman made refusing feel impossible. What's your full name? Marcus Anthony Hayes. Marcus, she tested it on her tongue. Strong name. Your mother chose well. My mother's gone. Overdose when I was 12. Father left before I was born. Marcus didn't know why he was telling her this. Maybe because she'd asked, like she actually cared. Catherine nodded slowly. And you? Are you following their path? Marcus's jaw clenched. No, ma'am. Getting my GED, I'm going to college, I'm getting out. Good, because that would be a waste. She leaned back against the pillows, but her eyes never left his face. Tell me exactly what happened last night. You don't remember? I remember pieces, falling, pain, fear. Then your face. You looked terrified, but you stayed. Why? Because you were dying, Marcus said simply. People die every day. Most would have walked away, but you didn't. Why? Marcus hesitated. It felt like the right thing to do. Catherine laughed softly. Rare people act rightly, not for gain. I want to offer you something, not charity, an investment. In what? In you. I almost died last night, she said, eyes glistening. But you helped me. That shows your character. What do you want from me? I want to pay for your GED. Then I want to pay for your college. Full ride, any school that accepts you. Room, board, books, everything. Catherine leaned forward slightly. In exchange, I want you to work for me during summers and breaks. I need someone at my foundation who understands what it's like to actually need help. Someone who won't treat grant applications like paperwork. Someone who remembers what $50 means. Marcus stared at her. Why would you do this? Because I've spent 50 years building businesses and making money. I've won awards and earned respect and accumulated wealth beyond measure. And last night, none of it mattered. I couldn't save myself. Money couldn't help me. My reputation couldn't call 911, but you could, and you did. Catherine's voice grew softer. You gave up your future to save my life, Marcus. The least I can do is give you a better one in return. People don't just do things like this. Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. There's always a catch. The catch is that you have to accept help. For someone like you, someone who's survived by trusting no one, that might be the hardest thing I'm asking. Catherine held out her hand. It trembled slightly, but her grip looked strong. So what do you say? Do we have a deal? Marcus looked at her hand, at her face, at the monitors beeping steadily beside the bed. This woman had almost died. She should be weak, scared, focused on recovery. Instead, she was offering a complete stranger a way out. A real way out, not charity, not pity. An investment. He thought about the $223 in his shoe, about sleeping under overpasses and eating from trash cans and being invisible unless someone needed a suspect. He thought about the woman's eyes in the alley, that desperate, pleading look, and later, the gratitude. Marcus reached out and shook her hand. Deal, but I'm paying you back. Every cent, once I graduate and get a job. Catherine's smile was triumphant. We'll discuss that later. For now, let's get you fed and figure out where you're staying tonight. The Y has rooms for $30 a night. I've got enough for a week. You're not staying at the Y. I own a building downtown with furnished apartments. You'll stay there, rent-free until you're on your feet. She held up a hand to stop his protest. It's sitting empty anyway. You'll actually be doing me a favor by keeping an eye on the place. David returned with bags of food that smelled like heaven. Marcus ate slowly, trying not to look desperate, but Catherine watched with satisfaction. You have kind eyes, she said suddenly. Sad, but kind. Your mother would be proud of the man you're becoming. Marcus's throat tightened. Thank you, ma'am. Call me Catherine. We're going to be working together. Might as well start now. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the same hospital room, but everything was different. Catherine was back for a checkup, healthy and strong. Her physical therapy had worked miracles. And Marcus was different too. He'd passed his GED with honors. He'd been accepted to 5 universities. He'd put on weight, healthy weight, and the haunted look had faded from his eyes. Penn State offered the best scholarship, Marcus said, showing her the letter. But Stanford and MIT want me too. Where do you want to go? Catherine asked. Stanford, if that's okay. I know it's far. It's perfect. You'll come back and work summers at the foundation. The rest of the time, you focus on becoming whoever you're meant to be. Catherine smiled. I'm proud of you, Marcus. Not just for the grades, for letting someone help you. That took more courage than saving my life. You saved mine right back, Marcus said quietly. I was drowning before I met you, Tondo. I just didn't realize it. We saved each other then. Catherine stood and walked to the window. Her recovery had been remarkable. I want to tell you something. Before last night in the alley, I thought I'd done everything that mattered. Built companies, made fortunes, earned respect. But I'd forgotten what it felt like to be seen. Really seen. Not as Catherine Whitmore, billionaire, but as a human being who needed help. She turned to face him. You saw me, Marcus? Not my money or my name. Just me. Someone who needed saving. And you didn't hesitate. Her eyes glistened. That's the most valuable gift anyone's ever given me. More valuable than any business deal or award. You reminded me that kindness isn't a transaction. It's a choice. I just did what anyone would do, Marcus said. No, you did what almost no one does. You put someone else first when you had every reason not to. Character isn't about what you have. It's about what you do when you have nothing. Catherine placed her hands on his shoulders. Promise me this. When you succeed, remember this moment. Then be the one to help. I promise, Marcus said. I'm starting a program at Stanford, the Second Chance Initiative, helping homeless students with basic needs. Tutoring, mentorship. Catherine smiled. Perfect. I'm funding it. Your first Whitmore Foundation grant, you've already given me so much. And I'll keep giving if you keep paying it forward. Kindness isn't hoarded, it's multiplied. She hugged him. You gave me my life back. Let me help you build yours. 4 years later, Marcus graduated with honors in computer science and business. Catherine cheered louder than anyone at the ceremony. At dinner, she raised her glass. To Marcus Hayes, the young man who taught me that courage and compassion are priceless, and that legacy is people, not fortune. To Catherine Whitmore, Marcus replied, who showed me that accepting help is wisdom, family is chosen, and kindness returned is justice. They clinked glasses. Around them, Catherine's family smiled, hearing the alley story once again, ever old. Because it celebrated humanity, compassion over convenience. Marcus went on to build 3 successful startups, always including programs for homeless hires and youth donations. Every success was shared with those who needed a chance as he once had. Catherine lived to 91. At her funeral, Marcus eulogized her. She used to say, I saved her life, but the truth is more complicated. We saved each other. She saw me as human. I saw potential in her generosity. He gestured to the Crowd family, philanthropists, former homeless youth. Her last words were remembered not for what we accumulate, but for what we give. The greatest gift is recognizing humanity in those everyone else ignores. See each other. Really see each other? At her casket, Marcus whispered, thank you. For believing in me. For teaching that the right choice is always worth the cost. He carried $50 in his pocket, a reminder that the most costly gift can also be the most valuable. Attention, compassion, courage. Under the same stars that once watched him under the overpass, he vowed the Second Chance Initiative would expand nationwide. Because one woman saw potential in a kid with nothing, and one kid chose her life over his own future. Kindness, real kindness, acts always. And sometimes, impossibly, it comes back multiplied. Marcus Hayes never forgot. Thousands got their second chance too.